There's a mole on the Biden campaign leaking sensitive information, and the news coming out of these leaks is telling us one thing for Biden. It's Jover. My name is Curtis. I'm a political consultant. You're watching the Campaign Chronicles, the common man's home for understanding this election. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at the leaked polling data from the Biden campaign that shows that the Democrats are in free fall. So these polls that were leaked are what we call internal polls. If you don't know what those are, these are polls that the campaign themselves has conducted or commissioned to be conducted on behalf of their campaign. And so these polls typically favor the campaign that's putting them out. And so for Biden, these polls probably lean a little closer to the Biden side than what is actually reality. And same thing for the Trump campaign. Trump's internal polls, which we don't have access to because no one's leaked them, they skew probably a little bit towards Trump than what is reality. And so the polls that we have today that are from the Biden campaign that no one was supposed to see are shocking to say the least. These polls are reflecting I don't know if I can call it a landslide, a near landslide. I think we have to call it a landslide. It's not like a Ronald Reagan 1984 landslide, but kind of like a Obama 2008 landslide, except for Trump and the Republicans. And so when you work on a campaign like I have, you have to sign an NDA. And so the people who leak these polls were putting their jobs on the line. They're putting their political futures on the line if they get found out. And really, this is a big deal for anyone to do this. Internal polls don't usually get leaked. And so what a lot of people are saying is that the Democrats are panicking. The kind of political elites, the political class, the people on the Biden campaign and in the White House are panicking. And so there have been a ton of leaks, not just with these internal polls, but with other things as well. This internal polling data is certainly the most interesting thing that has come out. And so what this is suggesting is that they're panicking, and I think they're trying to releasing these internal polls and releasing some of the other things that they've released. They're trying to pull the carpet out from under Joe Biden in hopes that they can get a different nominee who they think has a better chance at beating Trump. And so this is a huge deal. This tells us that, again, Biden's campaign is in free fall. So we've got 14 different places that we're going to look at that were listed in the Biden campaign's internal polling data. So I'm going to pull up our election map, and we're going to walk through what the polls said for each of these places. And so to start right off the bat, or I guess I'll preface and I'll say they basically ranked 14 we'll call them swing states. There's also some congressional districts they put in there because Nebraska and Maine allocate their electoral votes by congressional district and not by the state as a whole. A little complicated. It'll become clear in a little bit here. But so for all of these states that they have, they ranked them basically in order of least likely to vote for Joe Biden and most likely to vote for Joe Biden. And so these are basically, these 14 states, or 14 places we'll call them, are states that were at least at one point this year on the table for the Biden campaign. And so already this is telling, because we can look, some of these places that aren't listed are just as telling as some of the places that are listed that we'll see in a second. So you'll see our yellow states are the states that the Biden campaign were focused on in their internal polling, and these are the states that they feel were on the table at some point this year. And so notice some of the places that were not on the table. In 2020 and 2016, the Democrats felt like they had a shot at Texas. Right now, not on the table. In 2020 and 2016, the Democrats thought they had a shot at Florida. Florida's not on the table. In 2020 and 2016, the Democrats thought they had a shot in Ohio, in Iowa. There was some whispers about maybe in Alaska or Montana. And right now, none of these places are even on the Democrats' radar. And so it's these yellow states right here that they're focused on. And this represents 139 electoral votes. And so right now, without looking at any of this data, Donald Trump has a 39 electoral vote advantage. Pretty good. It's going to get better for him, though. We're going to start and we're going to look at... So this is the state that the Biden campaign felt like they were doing the worst in, which is North Carolina. Not too surprising. Before the debate, and this is the great thing, okay? So these leaked... This leaked internal data, these leaked internal polls, they have pre-debate numbers and they have post-debate numbers. And so we're gonna look at both. So North Carolina, before the debate, the Democrats, according to their data, they were down 8.5%, which means Trump was winning North Carolina by 8.5%. After the debate, it looks like the polls have swung, according to the Biden campaign, by 2.1%. And so now North Carolina is sitting at 10.6% victory for Trump. And this comes from, in 2020, a slight victory for Trump. This is horrible for Joe Biden. This is just horrible. North Carolina is supposed to be like, I think in a Democrat dream world, it's supposed to be like basically Georgia, like one day. Like they had a lot of hopes and dreams for North Carolina. It's not going to happen. And so we're actually going to put, I need to add a couple more colors here. But we're going to put North Carolina with the rest of the safe states. Because Trump here is winning above 10%, which, again, for North Carolina is kind of crazy. So we've got Trump winning by above 10%. We're going to go over to Georgia. Before the debate, Joe Biden was losing. Trump was winning by 7.9%. Now, after the debate, Joe Biden losing by 10.1%. Georgia goes from voting for Joe Biden in the last election, granted by, a couple thousand votes, but Georgia voted for Joe Biden in 2020. Now, Trump is winning it by more than 10%. We're also going to put Georgia in the safe state column for Trump. Again, not something I really thought was going to happen or that I predicted, but this is what Joe Biden's numbers are saying. And so if what I was saying earlier holds true and internal polls tend to favor your candidate, that would mean that it's actually worse than this. So Arizona, before the debate, Trump winning by 7.6%. Another state, Biden won by a handful of votes. After the debate, Trump winning Arizona by 9.7%. So below that 10% that we saw in Georgia and North Carolina, but this is not really a tilt or leans at this point. This is a likely Trump state, which again is crazy. Nevada, a state that hasn't voted Republican for president since 2004, if memory serves. And before the debate, Trump was winning by 6.9%. After the debate, Trump is winning by 8.8%. This is a state that has two Democrat senators that voted twice for Obama, that voted for Joe Biden, that voted for Hillary Clinton. And right now, Trump is winning by big margins, by the way. This is something that a lot of people didn't predict, and Nevada has been, in pretty much all polling, been leaning Republican, but nothing near a almost 9% victory for Trump in the making. I don't think anybody thought that was possible, but we're seeing a huge swing right now in Nevada and in Arizona. Next on the list is Pennsylvania. And so Pennsylvania, before the debate, Trump was winning by 5.1%. Again, another state that Joe Biden won. Right now, Trump is winning with 7.3%. Or excuse me, winning by 7.3%. Crazy. And so these likely states, just to clarify, we're going to say safe state is above 10%, and then likely state is between 5 and 10%. And so all these states so far, Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, likely. Michigan, similar story before the debate, Trump winning by 5.1%. And the governor of Michigan, a lot of people were kind of floating her name for taking over for Joe Biden if he dropped out. And she said, I'm not running in this election, not going to do it. And by the way, Joe Biden's already lost Michigan, so it doesn't matter. Which is kind of fatalistic, but that's the governor of Michigan, Democrat governor of Michigan. So before the debate, Michigan, 5.1% majority for Trump. Trump winning by 5.1%. After the debate, Trump winning by 6.9%, which also puts Michigan likely Trump. Next up, so I mentioned this earlier, Nebraska, they vote by congressional district. And so I should have made that yellow. I didn't, it looks like. Oh, there we go. Nebraska, there we go. Okay. So Nebraska, the congressional district there, it's about right there. It's like the biggest city in Nebraska. And in the last election, kind of surprisingly, it voted for Joe Biden. That district voted for Joe Biden. And so right now, before the debate, Trump was winning by 2.6%. After the debate, Trump winning by 4.3%. Again, a district that Trump lost. And so it's below 5%. We're going to say that it's a lean Trump district. After that, next closest race, according to these internals, we've got Wisconsin. Before the debate, Trump barely winning by 2.2%. After the debate, Trump winning by 4.2%. And this is a state that so far in this cycle, Trump has been losing it by like 1 out of Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin. Wisconsin's been the one that's kind of been, and actually really all the swing states. So far, up until the debate, Trump's been winning in all of these swing states in Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, Nevada. Trump's been winning in all these places except for Wisconsin. He's been losing by about 1. Democrats' internals said actually he was winning by 2.2. And then after Joe Biden's disastrous debate, Trump's winning by 4.2. So Wisconsin is a lean red state according to the Democrats. Up next, New Hampshire. New Hampshire's been a state so far in this race. Most polls have Joe Biden winning no problem in this state. According to the Democrats, before the debate, Trump was winning by 0.5%. After the debate, Trump is winning by 2.8%. New Hampshire, I think, I'm going to have to think back. I think New Hampshire hasn't voted Republican since the year 2000. So in almost a quarter century, or it's been almost a quarter century since New Hampshire's voted for a Republican for president. Kind of crazy. And right now it looks like this is a lean Trump state. Kind of crazy. It gets crazier though. Hang with me. Virginia. And so before we do Virginia, I'm going to stop right here. So just with these states alone, Trump is beating Joe Biden with 316 electoral votes. And we've still got 5 states left to talk about. This is horrible for Joe Biden. I should have stopped when we got to Pennsylvania. The tipping point in this election was Pennsylvania. So if Trump won, in order, if he won North Carolina, and then Georgia, and then Arizona, and then Nevada, and then Pennsylvania, he would win. Without Michigan, without Wisconsin, without any of these other yellow states. So Virginia, before the election, and again, Virginia hasn't voted Republican since 2004 for president, right? And I think under Obama, I think Virginia, someone can correct me on this, I think Virginia voted Democrat with a margin of like 5, 6, 7, 8%, somewhere in there. But Virginia, Trump was losing before the debate by 1.5%. After the debate, Trump is winning by 0.6%. A state that hasn't voted Republican for president in 20 years. This is under 1%, so it's a tilt Trump state. So it's you can barely see that it's slightly red. And that's where Virginia's at right now. It's a slightly red state. Up next, even more shocking, New Mexico. Again, New Mexico, I can't remember if it voted for Bush once, either in 2000 or 2004. I can't remember which one. Either way, New Mexico hasn't voted Republican in 20 years. Before the debate, this is without Joe Biden's meltdown, Trump was losing by 1.9%. This is a state with a Democrat governor, 2 Democrat senators, and I think 3 Democrat congressmen, representatives. Right now, after the debate, Trump is winning New Mexico. According to the Democrats, this is not like Republican wish casting. This isn't like, Republicans daydreaming about how good the election could be for them. This is according to Democrats. New Mexico, solid blue state. Trump is winning by 0.5%. And this state is a tilt Trump state, which is crazy for me to even say that. Up next, Maine. Interesting to note real quick. So Maine also has the system where you allocate your electoral votes by congressional district. So if I didn't explain that well earlier, if you've got a state like Georgia, if whoever gets the most votes in Georgia gets 16 electoral votes. In Nebraska, you get 1 vote if you win the state, and then you get 1 vote for each congressional district. A little complicated. Maine does it the same way. And so in Maine, they don't even have... So Trump won, I think for the first time in modern history, Trump won Maine's, it's either 1st or 2nd congressional district. And as a Republican. He's the first Republican in modern history to do that. Now, and so this is a very rural congressional district up here in Maine that voted for Trump. Now, for the state as a whole, Trump lost the state twice, right? Maine is a Democrat state. They have 1 Democrat senator and a Democrat governor. Some people would consider them kind of a swing state. I think they're just kind of a New England state that likes moderate Republicans sometimes. They've got 1 moderate Republican senator up there. They used to have 2. So Trump lost Maine as the state. He won a congressional district, but as a state, he lost Maine twice. Right now, before the debate, Trump was losing by 2.2%. After the debate, Trump is basically tied. He's losing the state by 0.2%, which is well within the margin of error. And if you don't know what a margin of error is, it's just the amount wrong the poll could be. And for most good polls, that number is like 3%. So all of these polls could go like, they could be wrong by 3% in either direction. So it could be that actually voters in Maine, Trump is winning by 3%, or it could be Trump is losing by 3%. And that's probably the same with all these polls. Most of these polls are outside the margin of error. So up until Wisconsin, so North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District, Wisconsin, all of these states are outside the margin of error, which would be enough for Trump to win. So Maine, Trump barely losing by 0.2%. This is a tilt Biden state. Where'd it go? There it is. Oh, but I lost. Did you see that? When I did that, I lost his other congressional district. There we go. We fixed it. All right, up next, Minnesota. Minnesota hasn't voted for a Republican since 1972, Richard Nixon. Before the debate, Trump losing by 2.4%. After the debate, Trump losing by 0.4%. This is a tilt D state. And so, interestingly, if you want to get into like what's truly a swing state, so the states that are like 3% or less, so far the swing states in this election are, which I know you could consider all of these swing states depending on how broad you want to be, but in this election, just the states that are that Trump is winning by 3% or less and Biden is winning by 3% or less. So far, we've got New Hampshire, Virginia, New Mexico, Maine, and Minnesota. These are the swing states. Trump doesn't need them. So far, all the other states, he can win those and be fine without New Hampshire, Virginia, New Mexico, Maine, and Minnesota. And so this is a really rare election where the swing states, if these are the swing states, if the election stays the same, these swing states don't matter. Now, of course, everybody's vote matters, right? You know that's not what I mean. Okay, so Trump can win without any of the states we just talked about. And Minnesota, again, 2 Democrat senators, 1 Democrat governor. This is the home of Ilhan Omar, one of the most far left representatives in the House of Representatives. This is no conservative stronghold. This is not like MAGA land. And Trump barely losing by 0.4%. All right, last up, Colorado. Before the debate, Trump losing by 3.7%. After the debate, Trump losing by 1.9%. So Colorado, I think, voted for Joe Biden by 10% last time. Right now, it's a lean Democrat state. And the interesting thing about this is that right now, these numbers are changing daily. We don't have new internal Democrat polling daily, but we have new polling numbers daily. And I've seen a poll recently that has New Jersey tied. This election is going to be crazy if Joe Biden stays the nominee. It's going to be even crazier if he doesn't stay the nominee. Right now, if the Democrats' polling numbers are correct, if the Democrats are right about what they think, and again, what you're seeing here, this is not my opinion, this is the Democrats' opinion. The Democrats think that if the election were held right now, that Trump would have 335 electoral votes and that Joe Biden would have 203 electoral votes. And this is really, really bad. It's hard to overstate how bad this is for the Democrats. They are inches away from losing Minnesota. They're inches away from losing Maine. They're like a yard away from losing Colorado. So you're seeing if you don't pay attention to the news, good for you. If you do, right now you're seeing Democrats panic. You're seeing people call for Joe Biden to resign. You're seeing Joe Biden's meeting with governors, Democrat governors next week to calm their nerves about his health situation. You're seeing so far 2 Democrats in the House call for Joe Biden to step down. And then, interestingly enough, we have Joe Biden was supposed to do a big interview this Sunday during prime time, and they moved the interview to Friday because they thought there would be less viewership for the interview on Friday. And so things are not going well. Lots of talk about Hunter Biden right now, not with any of his trials and stuff, but specifically Hunter Biden's been in the White House sitting in with meetings with Joe Biden. He's been attending meetings with Joe Biden, and Democrat aides are freaking out. Democrat aides are saying, what the heck is he doing? Especially on the heels of a terrible debate like this. So we could see this map get worse. I don't know if we'll get internal polling leaks again. Those people may have lost their jobs, and so we may very well not. But right now, the map is looking like a electoral blowout for Trump and the Republicans, unless something really, really big changes, unless Trump messes it up, which he could very well, unless the Democrats replace Joe Biden with someone really awesome, unless Joe Biden has a really big turnaround moment where he seems like he is not 82 years old when he in fact is. So anyways, that is our analysis. That's my analysis of the internal polls that we got from the Democrats. Please like and subscribe for more election analysis. If you have an election question, please click the link in my bio and I'll try to answer it in a future video. And we will see you next time when the next crazy thing happens.